Hi, Bex here. Today I want to talk to you about the freedom philosophy. I'm going to talk to you about why it came about, why it's so important, and talk you through the business model that will help you generate time, income, and location freedom. So let's have a little bit of chat about reality. So what tends to happen for a lot of people is that they work for the vast majority of their life. So you can see from this little timeline that there's this kind of special place down here when we're kids, when we're teens, when we've got a bit of freedom to go and explore and do pretty much whatever it is that we want. We're either supported within our family networks or we're working sort of hand to mouth, no responsibilities as such, and just going out and living life over here. Yeah. And whether you go to university or whether you don't, generally around sort of late teens, early 20s, then we start to have to earn a living. So we're going to have to start paying our way, find somewhere to live, responsibility starts to kick in, and we need to get some work. So we end up on the treadmill round about here. Now, at the moment, average life expectancy within the UK is 81, right? Which doesn't sound actually very old. I'm not sure whether that's right at the moment. Maybe some of the figures recently have been skewed, but 81 is the average life expectancy of somebody living here in the UK. So if we're working until we're, say, 65, 70, depending on age and depending on, whether the government are changing the goalposts for you, then you're going to be working for at least 40, 45, 50 years in this middle section of your life, okay, until you can hit retirement. And then again, you've got that time freedom, you've got that location freedom, and maybe if you've worked really hard and you've put lots of money into property or pensions or all of that jazz, you will also have some income freedom so that you can enjoy your twilight years. Now, for me, and I don't know about you, but I don't like the look of this. So it's like fun down here, bit of fun up here if you've still got the energy and you've got the money to do so. But down here, this is the graft, okay? You've got to be working hard. You've got to be putting money away. You've got to be paying for today while also thinking of tomorrow. Yeah, kind of constrained here. And it feels like it's kind of you're in this section, and once you're on that treadmill, it's very, very difficult to get off because you've got these responsibilities, you've got a level of lifestyle that you're trying to maintain. So you've got to be earning this money to make sure that you are living for today and also have an eye on tomorrow. And we don't want people to wait until here to start living. I want people to be living their life in this section too. So lots of us kind of go, that's not for me. I want to do things differently. So we decide that actually we're not going to work for somebody else. We're going to work for ourselves because that's going to give us a hell of a lot more freedom across the whole of our lives. And we're going to create this life that we don't need to take a holiday from as such. We don't want to be only having 4 or 5 weeks holiday every year. We want to have that freedom to come and go as we please. If we're not feeling it one day, we want to be able to relax and do something a bit different. If we need to go and look after kids or look after relatives, then we have the ability to do that. We are singing to our own tune, marching to our own beat, and doing things a little differently to everybody else. Now, the trouble with that is what tends to happen is, again, this is typical. There will always be exceptions to this rule, but what I have seen is that people will work for themselves and they start trading their skills and their knowledge and expertise pounds for hours. So they will do done for you projects. So they will do the things that they're brilliant at doing for other people to save them the effort and having to work it out, or they will be selling their knowledge and expertise in a consultancy fashion, or they will be teaching face-to-face in workshops or courses or all of those kind of things. And that isn't scalable. So they're going to hit a threshold where actually they've still got to be somewhere at a particular time, because they're required to deliver whatever it is that they've sold. There's also only so many hours in the day, so they've, you know, can't just keep adding on to that in terms of scaling. And what tends to happen also is that when they're delivering, when they've won a contract or when they've won a new client, they're then delivering, they're not spending time generating pipeline for the next lot of people to come in. So we get this kind of seesaw effect of income comes in and then you're delivering, and so therefore you're busy in that part of the business, and you're not working on the business to generate new income that comes in. So we're getting these peaks and troughs of income, and we're chasing these one-off transactions. So for me, I did exactly the same. So after having Lily, I went back to work full time and found quite quickly that it was very difficult to spin all of these plates, and that I was going to struggle to do this, because I had Lily just before I was 30, and I was like, how am I going to do this for at least the next 10, 20, you know, even 30 years? Because, I mean, what am I now? I'm 45, she's 15. So I was like, you know, am I going to be able to actually run this household, be the primary carer for the children, work full time, you know, working a job where they kind of expect you to work as if you don't have any other commitments? You know, and if you leave on time or you need to have sick days, it starts making you feel guilty. If you don't, I don't want all that shit. It's too much. And I know that if I try and sustain that over 10, 15, 20, 25 years, it's going to, you know, it's going to do me in mentally and physically. So I left, decided to work for myself, ended up trading pounds for hours, and suddenly realized that I was still, I'd created a job for myself effectively. Created a job without any of the sick pay, the holidays, all of this kind of stuff. So I was actually working harder, probably not earning anywhere near what I was, you know, earning when I was actually employed, and without the security of that regular income coming in. So here's the thing, let's do things a bit differently. And this is where the freedom philosophy comes in. So there's me down here. I know that life is precious, and I know that you know that too. And especially after everything that's happened over the last 12 to 18 months, everybody's had a massive wake-up call. Now, sadly, I knew from about the age of 9, 10, that a long life wasn't guaranteed for everybody. So my first experience of death was my uncle, who was 28 at the time, who died in an accident. And as a 10-year-old kid, you suddenly go, shit, what? These people, I thought only old people died, you know, it wasn't young people that were dying. You know, he was only 18 years older than me. That, again, when you're 10, still feels like a lifetime, but it was like, you know, people in their 20s don't die. That's just bizarre. That then was closely followed by an aunt of mine on the other side of my family who died of cancer. She was in her mid-30s. And I was like, you know, shit, this is real. This doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be an old lady and live, you know, a ripe old age. Anything can happen. And then this was again cemented further when I was 15 and I lost my dad. So he was in a work accident. Anything can happen, and your life can change just in a split second. I refer to that Sliding Doors film from the 90s, bad film, but the concept is that just that decision, that split decision that you make, can completely alter the course of your life. And that was exactly what happened for my dad. He decided to stay on at work and finish off the job because he was doing a good job and he was conscientious. If he'd have left, he wouldn't have ended up in the accident that ensued, and you know what transpired thereafter. So life is precious, and we are not guaranteed to grow old. Okay, so if we spend all of our time in that middle section working our ass off to then be able to live our life when we hit retirement, many people don't actually get to retirement. So are we going to do this differently? Yes, we want to do this differently. And what we're aiming for is this time, income, location freedom. So we've got the two ends of the spectrum. We know that life is precious. We know that we want to then be able to use our time wisely and you know, not be tied down to certain places, but have the income that allows us to do that. So in order to do that, we can't be trading pounds for hours, because it just isn't scalable. We need to find a way in which we can do the things that we love, so that we don't need to take a holiday from it, and you know, we can enjoy what it is that we're doing. And this is really important, this bit here. So this piece of the jigsaw, this working in your zone of genius, is really important, because you could go out there and earn a lot of money, but you're doing something that doesn't light you up, it doesn't fill your soul, and therefore you're kind of missing the point. So the whole point of this is making sure that not only do we have this time, income and location freedom, we're creating that by doing something that we love, spending time with people that we enjoy spending time with, and doing that in our zone of genius, because that's when things start to accelerate. We can work in our brilliance. Yes, we can earn a good living in our brilliance, but if we can find that sweet spot where our passion and our talent collide, that's where the magic starts to happen. But as we've seen, you can still create yourself a job if you're working in your zone of genius, because you haven't leveraged what you know, what you love. We haven't leveraged any systems, any processes. And this is, my friends, what we're working for. This is the freedom philosophy, is knowing within our bones that the traditional method of doing things is not necessarily for us, that we want to work in our zone of genius rather than our zone of brilliance, because we don't want to be spending the vast majority of our life just trying to pay the bills, trying to accumulate cash. We want to be doing stuff that we love doing, that we're brilliant at doing. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that we've got leverage systems, so we're not spinning plates, so that we're not seesawing all over the place, chasing one-off transactions, finding that we've created ourselves a job. And in doing all of this, this is how we create our time, income and location freedom. Okay, sounds quite straightforward, yeah? Yeah, good. I hope you're still with me. So this is how we then start to do this. How do we put the freedom philosophy into practice? Well, first of all, we have to make that decision that we're going to do things our way. We have to have identified our zone of genius, and then we have to start looking at this leveraged business model. So the freedom philosophy business model looks a bit like this, and it all revolves around you being at the heart of whatever it is that you're going to do. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be there all of the time. You don't have to be present all of the time. You don't have to be front facing all of the time, but it's about you. It's about your desires. It's about your lifestyle. It's about the way that you want to live your life. We're going to essentially monetize three things. We're going to monetize your genius. We're going to monetize your community, and we're going to monetize the tools of your trade. So we've talked about your genius. This is where your passions and your talents collide, something that the world needs that you can be paid for. Okay. And for a lot of you, that's going to be teaching what you love, or leading, being a leader of a way of life or of a skill set, somebody who can show people the way. So you're going to lead them to the lifestyle, to the skills, to the knowledge, to the experiences that you've had or that you can bring to the table. And to do that in a leveraged way, we're going to look at online courses and group programs. So these are things that you can create residual income from. You can create them once, especially in terms of online courses. You can create them once and sell them over and over and over again. So you can scale this beyond your wildest dreams. And again, once we start looking at the systems and the processes that you use, you can have some of that working like clockwork without you needing to be there. So you do the work up the front, and it's evergreen. It stays with you for as long as it's relevant and as long as you wish to promote it. Group programs, much the same. You can create something once and you can run it over and over and over again. Now, the group programs does tend to mean that there's an element of you involved in this. So it may be that people are coming through a process and you are coaching them, or you're running masterclasses, or you're running sessions weekly, monthly, however that's designed. But the beauty of the technology that we have today means that you can be anywhere in order to deliver that. You know, and we've seen so many people embrace what was already, if you were working in the online space, that was our world anyway. But so many people have now embraced the fact that we can stay connected and we can provide transformation through technology. We don't physically have to be there in the same place as the other person. So let's look at how your genius can earn you money. How can you monetize your genius in terms of online courses or group programs? Next, we have a look at your community. Very few of us are working in isolation at the moment. We have a network around us. If you are already working for yourself, then you will be generating a network of clients and potential clients. So you are building a community, and community is one of the things that has been, I suppose, lacking in you know, over the years, that sort of bringing together of people for a common purpose. That's really powerful, and that's something that can be monetized. And in the context of the freedom philosophy, we do that through memberships primarily, but we can also do that through sponsorship, because if you have a big community of a certain type of people, then you can provide access to that community. Now, that's not to say that we sell our community down the road. We guard our community with all our might. They're so important to us, and we wouldn't necessarily be just spamming them constantly with adverts and those kind of things. It would be the things that are going to be useful for them. And ideally, what we're going to do in terms of those sponsorship or those relationships that we bring to the table, there's going to be a benefit for our community through doing it. It's not going to be a case of just, if I can flog you this, then I get the money and you get nothing. Remember, we are building relationships here. And that's really important when it comes to memberships as well, is that it's a long-term relationship, that people trust you, they love what you do, they love what you say, and they're interested in what you're doing, how you're doing it, and therefore they want to be a part of your community and be a part of your energy. And then finally, we have a look at your tools. So the tools of the trade that you use in order to live the life that you are living are going to be of interest to your community. So the things that you do to either deliver online courses, whether you have equipment that you suggest for people to purchase to be able to do the things that you're teaching them to do, or to live the life that you're teaching them to live, it means that you can actually earn an income from affiliate sales. Now, affiliate sales, when done right, is a beautiful thing. Why not, if you're recommending products, if you're recommending services, whatever it is that you're recommending to do or to use, why shouldn't you earn a commission from introducing that business to your community? Okay, there's a lot to be said for having those affiliate sales coming in. Again, it's the way that you do it. So if you're spamming your people constantly and trying to get them to buy stuff for the sake of buying stuff, it's not going to work. But if they are genuine, useful tools that are going to enhance your community's life, and you can provide it for them with maybe a discount or with the opportunity to help them to implement it, then that holds a huge amount of value. And the same can happen here in terms of associate referrals. So affiliate sales, I tend to refer to as, you know, like systems and products. And if it's an associate referral, it may well be that you have people within your network that can provide done for you services for your community. So for me, that's people like web developers, VAs, all of those kind of things, or designers, branding experts, people who can help you do the things that you need to do in order to generate your freedom philosophy business. Okay, so this is the model that we work with. We look at your genius, we look at your community, and we look at your tools, and we look at the ways in which we can monetize those for you in a scalable and leveraged and authentic way. So how do you begin to put this into practice? How do you implement this business model into your lifestyle? Well, first of all, what we need to do is clarify what your version of success is, because once we've got a handle on that, then we can work from there. Everybody's going to have a different version of success. Everybody's going to be having different goals in what they want to achieve. You know, if you want to earn £500,000 a year, or you want to earn £5,000 a month, it's going to be very different as to how you go about this, and the numbers that you're going to need, and what systems and processes that you will need to make this work for you. So we get clarification on your version of success. That is step number one. Step two, we have to simplify pretty much everything. We as human beings have a tendency to overcomplicate everything that we do. So let's strip it back, let's simplify, let's make sure that everything is as simple as possible, and that we use our 80-20 rule to make sure that we are working productively and not necessarily using time as a measure of our success. We want to make sure that it's really obvious to people how they can work with you and how you can help them. And we want to make it really simple and easy for you to be able to operate that as a business. The third step then is to look at how we can automate and outsource what you're doing, so we free up as much of your time as possible. It's really not the best use of your time to be trying to figure stuff out and fix your weaknesses. Let's play to your strengths, and let's automate or outsource the things that aren't your zone of genius. And then finally, we can start to optimize, and that means that we are able to put some rocket fuel into the system and make sure that we are accelerating all of your results. And then we go back to the clarify again. Once we've got to where we feel we want to be, we can go through this cycle again and again and see how we clarify, simplify, automate and optimize at that next level. So what happens next? It doesn't matter what stage you are at in your business, whether you are planning, whether you are in the building process, whether you're just getting ready to launch, or whether you've already got this up and running and you're looking to grow and you're looking to automate all of these things so that you can then start to optimize. I want to have a conversation with you, because there is no one size fits all. Everybody's business model is going to be slightly different. Although you're going to be doing much of the same in terms of, say, memberships or courses or affiliate sales, the way that you do it can be so different. The way that you deliver it, who you're working with, how you wish to work is up to you. You can design this however you want, and that can feel quite overwhelming for some people. So let's have a conversation, because I am absolutely 100% sure that there will be something that I can do for you or suggest for you to help you. So come and have a brew with me. Let's have a conversation and see where you're up to, see where you need to be, and how we can bridge that gap in between. Alternatively, if you know that you want to be part of a beautiful community of brilliant human beings who are implementing the freedom philosophy business model, they're creating and growing thriving memberships, they're looking at residual income with online courses and group programs, then come and join us. Come and become a member of the freedom philosophy, because we would love to have you with us. There is no one size fits all, but generally there will be somebody that has had the experience that you are coming up against, and we can provide a solution, or we've got resources that we can direct you to clear through that overwhelm and get you moving again in terms of implementation. Alternatively, you can just come and connect with me on Facebook or Instagram, or send me an email. Just think about this. Do you want to spend the vast majority of your life in a system that doesn't give you time, income, and location freedom, that only allows you to play at the beginning of your life and at the end of your life, you know, from 65 plus, assuming that you are lucky enough to make it to that point? Let's take control, let's do it in a different way, and let's embrace the freedom philosophy.